Welcome to Before the Council, a reading of the Revere City Council agenda for the meeting of Monday, September 22nd, 2003.
Number 14.
Yes, Mr. President, I sent a letter to the Council regarding the creation of a stabilization fund. We've talked about this for a lot of time over the course of time that I've been mayor, over the course of time that I was a city council, of creating an official stabilization fund, rainy day fund, reserve fund that would allow for the city to have some cushion in the event that we run into fiscal problems, as it seems like cities and towns do on every 10 or 12-year basis. A lot of cities and towns have stabilization funds. Some have significant ones. The cities, at least in my tenure, never sought to create one. Its philosophy, one that I frankly believe in, has always been keep the tax rate as low as possible, operate as tight as you can, and not look to have large amounts of money left over at the end of the year that you would put in a stabilization fund, or not look to appropriate specifically money to a stabilization fund. Agreeing with that philosophy, I'm looking for a way to create a stabilization fund that won't interfere with that philosophy. I'm proposing to the Council a way in which we might slowly start to build a stabilization fund without affecting that philosophy, without affecting the taxpayers directly. And that would be a system whereby we commit to putting into a stabilization fund some percentage of monies received by the city from two sources: sale of city-owned property, which occurs on an irregular basis, but which we will have a significant amount this year, and free cash, which generally in good times the city is able to receive certification for. And what this would do is simply commit the city, rather than spending that in that immediately in that fiscal years. And we all know that there are many capital needs that we have every year, and so it is enticing to spend that money on long-term needs. It might be worth saving each year some small percentage to a stabilization fund. I'm proposing 15%. That's not set in stone. Basically, I'm offering this up to the Council. Hopefully, it'll be sent to subcommittee, and we can have some discussions about whether this makes sense and what percentage we ought to try to set aside from those two sources, so that slowly over the course of time we will build up a stabilization fund. If we did this every year for the next 10 years, we'd probably have a healthy amount of money in there. It would help in two ways. It would, as I said, cushion the city for the next economic reversal. And second, it would certainly help our efforts to improve our bond rating, because the absence of a stabilization fund is something that the bond agencies are always looking at. And so I offer this as an opportunity for us to start the discussion on creating a stabilization fund.
Councilor Giannino.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, Councilor. I want to congratulate the mayor. I think this is good, sound fiscal planning. It occurs to me, at least it's been a pretty glaring issue to me over the course of the last couple of years, having served in my first term as a councilor, that we essentially live hand to mouth. As soon as the money comes in, we're essentially paying the bills with it. And I know that the mayor and I have had some preliminary conversations about this particular issue. I do believe that this recommendation is both conservative and prudent. The people of this city, they elect us to at least attempt to find some creative ways to minimize the impact to the average homeowner, the average taxpayer in the city. This council, and I congratulate each of them, acted on one such way earlier this evening when it sought to revisit the parking fines, the parking fee structure in the city. This is another such way, and so I would certainly congratulate the councilors for acting prudently and acting expeditiously on this matter as well. And again, Mr. Mayor, another good idea. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor Zambugo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank the mayor for proposing this. I've been shouting about a rainy day fund. I think, well, I know since the first time I was elected, and that election was reversed on a recount. So we're looking at 7 or 8 years ago, I've been talking about a rainy day fund, and I don't know if my recent motion prompted this action, but I am absolutely thrilled. And I think that, you know, the old journey of 1,000 miles starts with that first step. And if we put 15% of free cash or whatever we use to start this fund, the idea is to start it. And I applaud the mayor for his efforts. I am thrilled. I'll do whatever I can to help facilitate this. Thank you.
Well, just
Councilor Rizzo.
so this is a very conservative approach. I mean, we're not going to generate lots of money in year one, but over time you might generate enough so that you have something significant in the course of 10 or 15 years.
Councilor Rizzo.
For you, Mr. President, I think one of my first conversations with the mayor back in March of 2000 was the creating of a stabilization fund, and I'm happy to see it starting to come here to fruition. I think it's a great plan that the mayor has. I think any other sources of revenue that he would see fit to include in with the sale of city-owned property and free cash should be explored. I would like to see this even expanded, because as that account grows, and I hope that the city council, whoever is on the city council at that time, and whoever the mayor is, uses their best judgment when tapping into an account like that, because I see the future of this city having some real significant reserves, so that we'll be able in the real dark days that may come 10, 15, 20 years from now, we'll be able to have a reserve fund that we can tap into and maybe have to avoid any layoffs or have to avoid any cuts in services. So I think it's an excellent plan going forward, and I just would ask that, if anything, this plan gets even more aggressive. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor Novoselsky.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, through you to the mayor, I want to congratulate you on a fine idea that I know people have been talking about over the years, but it's time that we look out for the future of the city.
Councilor Colella.
Thank you, Mr. President. My compliments to the mayor regarding this issue that is before the council, the issue of a stabilization fund. As a matter of fact, since everybody else talked to him about the stabilization fund, I might say that I spoke to him 3 years ago during the course of a building committee meeting. And that time, if I remember correctly, you agreed profusely that we ought to be doing this. So, if it's an ordinance that has to be, well, I don't know, does this have to be a public hearing,
Yes.
Mr. Clerk? Well, then I move, Mr. President, that this be submitted to a public hearing.
All right, on ordering item number 14 to a public hearing. All in favor, all opposed? So moved.